What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, and this is a huge video for me because the 5-2-3 is back, and it really brings things full circle at a time when I'm pretty bummed out about UFL. However, that Portugal event earlier led me to watching some UFL that I didn't expect, and it really got my juices flowing to play the game again, just because it was played in a different way, right? Now, there was some ratty things in there, right? And a few people pointed that out. However, it was nowhere near the experience I'm having and the experience many of you are having as far as just the exploits the larger number of players are using that we face all the time. However, watching the game today made me want to play it, and it made me realize a few things. One, the game still can be fun. And there are some players out there that you're going to face that will give you that throwback. So if you're in a mood that offers patience, right, that you just are missing the good old days of UFL, you can still get that experience, right? And with this most recent patch, was it perfect? Was it anywhere near what we needed it to be? Absolutely not. But there's still those glimmers of hope in the game, and it's just something that runs dear to me because I started my channel around this game. All the awesome people in the community that I now know pretty well through talking to, just through YouTube, through Discord, through things like that. Even some phone calls and stuff it led to. All that stuff came from UFL, and in particular, this formation, the 5-2-3, which I made popular on my way into top 10 in the world. And the reason why I loved it in the beginning is because I used it very attacking. At the beginning, the wingbacks had terrible positioning. They would not track back. However, I felt like I was good enough defensively that I could utilize this to have almost extra attackers. They were more like extra outlets than attackers. They never really got in, scored goals, or sometimes they would assist, but mainly they were just extra passes that the opponent didn't know what to do with because I had my front three plus my two wingbacks on either side of the CM. So at any given time, I would have 7 players up. And it was funny hearing some players talk about how 5-back was ratty because it's sit-back and all that. But make no mistake about it, I am pro 5-back because it is absolutely a formation that you need to be tactically strong, and you need to be strong defensively because if you don't press up on the opposition, they will get snapshots all day, they will get finesse shots, one-time shots, all of that. You need to be very good at manual defending in a 5-back, in particular in the 5-2-3 where you're lacking in the midfield a bit. However, if you utilize this the right way, you can turn this into an absolute beast of a setup, especially in this meta, and I'm going to show you how. Now, first things first, you want your defensive style to be balanced. I went ahead and tried press on heavy touch, even pressure after possession loss once the update came out based on the notes, but the stamina enhancement that they did was definitely not an enhancement at all, or at least not nearly enough, so keep that defensive style on balance. Depth of defense for the 5-2-3, we are going with 4 bars, which is balanced. We do not want to sit deep. I don't care what the Rats are doing. Even in a 5-back, 4-back, whatever it is, balance is where you want to be. You do not want your defense sitting on your 6-yard box or however far it is based on the supposed fix they made on the depth. 4 bars, balanced with the current setup is perfect. As far as width of defense, you want 1, the most narrow you can go because you want to close down the gaps the best you can. You want to keep those wing backs close to the center backs defensively because, like I said, lacking the midfield, you are going to need to press up on those attackers, and those wingbacks can offer help to those center backs when they have to step out of position and move out of the defensive line. So you want your width on 1. As far as attacking style, we go long ball. The reason why we're going long ball instead of fast attack is because it is the same type of runs you start making as fast attack, except it's with fewer players. Essentially, your front 3 will start making those forward runs, while your back 5 and your center mid 2 will stay more in shape and just look to ping the ball up to those front 3. With the current meta, this is plenty to attack. I went off the notes in my 4-1-2-1-2 wide, and it still played very well, but based on the meta, which was much different than what the notes read, having just those front three make the runs, which is what they will do with the long ball attacking style, it will be perfect to get your attack going in this meta. Now, for the first time, players in the box does matter. Put this on 1. Typically, I say this is personal preference. I typically also go 5. But now that the L1, R2 is extremely powerful, especially until they nerf long shots, which I know they're doing soon. But even when they do, the ability with these skins putting such a boost on some of these players, the ability for players to just run the entire field on that L1, R2 sprint is higher than ever, and you don't want to get counterattacked. So it's much more like FIFA now, where if you have too many players caught up, you can get hit on the other side. So keep players in the box at 1. You will still have just your few big guys in the box, so you can still go for a cross, for a header if you want to. For me, I go short anyway, and the players lingering around the top of the box outside of my foremost attackers is fine with me. So 1 on players in the box, and then you also want your width of attack on 1 bar, which is the most narrow you can go, and this is because those wingbacks will already be more narrow in their defensive setup, close to the center backs. Your wingers, you want working in the seams between the opposing center back and wing backs, so they'll want to be on the most narrow setting too. Your wing backs will still operate just on the outside of those wingers, which is exactly what you want. When they push up to support the attack, they will be outlet passes for your 2 center mids, and your center mids, when they have the ball, will still have that ability to play the through balls through the seams, right, especially with the way through balls are now, to your either left winger or right winger, and then they can always go to the striker's feet or through ball to him as well, and they'll still have those wing backs just on the outside of those wingers. But based on this setup, you want it on 1 width of attack, the most narrow you can go. Now moving on to player roles. Your goalkeeper, do not touch. You want sweeper keeper on balanced and one-on-one situations on passive behavior. Center backs, same thing. Do not touch. All 3 center backs on do not cross the halfway line. Hold your position and situational. You want these 3 center backs staying in position, holding the line. The only time they'll be pushing up is if you manually control them, and you will want to manually control them and push up on the attacker so they cannot get free finesse shots or low-driven shots, snapshots, whatever they're trying to do. You want to pressure them, not let them get easy shots off. And remember, your wingbacks are staying narrow so they can cover that space that your pressing center backs leave behind. As for your left and right backs, you want them on close to the sideline on the attack, right? Once you win the ball, you want them spreading out as passing outlets. Attack support is support the attack. Defensive style is holding position, and pass interceptions is situational. So they'll be very narrow, supporting the center backs defensively, and then they'll spread out wide just outside of the wingers and move up to support and be outlet passes in the attack as well. Very important players in this setup, and I'm telling you, Udogie and Dumfries are the best left and right backs respectively in the game, especially once they're juiced up, obviously. Now for both center mids, you want the most defensive setup, which is attacking support. Don't cross the halfway line. Crosses into the box is hold your position, and pass interception is situational. They will be your first line of defense, helping you put pressure on those attackers, not letting them get any easy passes and especially not getting any easy shots. But they will also serve as that bridge between your defense and your attack. They will serve as outlet passes for your offense in case they need to reset, maybe swing from one wing to the other. Just a very important position, but obviously there's only 2 midfielders, so you have to be very smart when you control these 2 players. And what I mean by that is you don't want to take your center mids and run them way out wide or out of position, too far up, too far back. They're simply staying put in the middle of the field, trying to disrupt any play that your opposition is trying to get going in the attack, and then also serving as outlet passes from that central area for your own attack. And for your left winger and your right winger, you want attacking runs as attacking style. Attacking width will be close to the middle so they can work those seams between the wing backs and the center backs, especially ready to receive those through balls. For crosses into the box, make yourself available. Defensive support is balanced and pass interceptions is situational. I just want to touch on the balance part on defensive support. If you put stay up front, I don't like that huge gap between your wingbacks and your wingers. I want your wingers a little closer to your wingbacks ready to receive the ball, and it also creates more of a diamond between your center mids and your striker, whereas if you put them stay up front, they're a little more linear to the striker, which is never good. It's a lot easier to snuff out passing lanes for your opponent. So put them on balanced defensive support, and it will also help you in the attack. Now, last but not least is your striker, a very important position, as always in UFL. You want your striker on attacking runs as attacking style. Defensive support is stay up front, the only player in your 11 that will stay up front. And then passing interceptions will be situational. Now, this striker, make sure you go after a striker that fits your playstyle. If you are a heavy crossing player and you're going to be crossing in from your wings, make sure you get a taller striker. You probably wouldn't want Son. You would probably want more of a Holland or a Darwin Nunez or someone like that. If you're more of a play to feet, let him beat the defenders, a Son can work. But you would probably even want more of like an Endrick type that's very good on the dribble, whereas Son's a little more stiff. Now, what Son is good at, similar to like a Jonathan David, is finishing, is receiving the ball and shooting, especially for Son. More than a snapshot like for Jonathan David, Son's finesse shots are out of this world, but just his overall finishing is incredible. The way I play, I don't try to do any type of over dribbling. Maybe with Endrick I did, just because he felt so good on the ball and could just destroy defenders. But I like a striker like Son that can receive the ball and just get to the business of finishing it off. He does that just as good, if not better, than anybody. So, with that being said, that is the legendary 5-2-3 setup. This helped me get to top 10 in the world, and it can help you too. I know the game is much different now. I know that we are infested with rats. However, if you use this 5-back correctly, you will be able to defend. You won't have to worry about your opponent, coming down and getting any free shots and trying to sit back, because not only can you defend well in this, but once you get the ball into the attack, despite how it looks, despite what the game, explains in their little breakdown, which I've said this always, those breakdowns, they're not bad or anything, but based on the player roles, that's what makes this setup. And based on how this works, the 5-2-3 is excellent in the attack, so you will have every opportunity to score goals no matter how deep the defense is. Yes, sometimes it's just inevitable that you're going to face those sit-back rats and you're just not going to be able to get certain shots through. It is what it is. That's UFL. But this will give you as good or better than of a chance to score than any other setup. So get to grinding, have fun, and we will see you on the next one. Make sure you smash like on this video. Make sure if you're not subscribed, you get over there and subscribe wherever the heck that button is. And leave in the comment section how this setup works for you if you decide to use it. Until next time, have a good one. Peace.